Have no fear. That shouldn't be that much. Yeah, well, that's uninteresting.
Your time don't agree at that time. Good evening, I'll call the Smyth County Board of Supervisors regular monthly meeting to order. And I ask that you stand with me, and we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Kenneth Pennington, and remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Alan Gray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I invite you to pray with me. Father God, we give you thanks for the gift of life. We give thanks for life in a beautiful part of the world, Lord, and we are so grateful and so privileged to be in an area with beauty all around us. And we're thankful for these mountains and the people that live here, and we pray that we might be good servants to all of your people that live in this area, Lord, from the oldest to the youngest, Lord, that we might serve in love and in kindness and compassion, especially those who are having a hard time, Lord, those who are most vulnerable, our oldest and youngest citizens, Lord. We pray that you'd empower this board tonight and all the governmental officials that work in this building and our school system and our first responders, Lord, our churches. Help us all to be servants of the people. And we do give thanks tonight, especially for one of your servants, Jesse Choate, who served the school board for so many years, and we celebrate his life and years of dedicated service he gave to this community. And we pray your blessing on his family, and we just celebrate his life and his new life in you. And we pray your blessing on this gathering, Lord, that you would guide the decisions, the discussions, the debates that will go on tonight. Pray that all might speak their mind, but also speak with kindness and respect for one another, and just help us all, Lord, to again serve you in love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, amendments to the agenda. As far as I know, we have none. Nobody wants to add anything. Good to see everyone here tonight. I forgot to say that. It's good to have a crowd. Good to have a newspaper here to keep an eye on us. Presentations. Nobody wants to present anything tonight. No public hearings. Boy, we just run down everything. Let's jump right into the minutes of the previous meeting. Everyone have a chance to read those and go through those?
Move to approve.
Second. Have a motion to second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Likewise. I'm going to abstain because I haven't had a chance to read them. Financial report. Lisa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your additional binder there on the red tab, I believe that's red, you have the county financial report ending January 31st, 2024. We show the county has a bank and CD balance for January was $22,047,664.75. Your spreadsheet looks a little bit different when you, well, I've just got some additional information to provide here. The difference from that same time period last year is $5,213,000, and that difference is in special projects and ARPA, what was formerly ARPA money. We spent out almost up to 3.5 million, so that's the reduction in the difference between January 23 and January 24. As far as restricted CDs and investments that are not included in the 22 million balance, we had CDs and investments at $10,509,412.44. That's an additional $8,031,000 over January 2023, and that's related basically to the public radio safety bond. So overall, the fund balance for January 2024 was $32,557,077.19. That's an increase from January of 2023 of $2.8 million. Also inside your packet, Anna has provided a treasurer's accountability report, and there should be an expenditure report in that for your review. Does anybody have any questions?
Hearing none, I thank you for the report.
You're welcome.
I would like to point out, if you're sitting in the audience here looking at us on video, that seems like a large number, but keep in mind, most of our revenue has been collected for the year. We're just spending money from between now and June. So it doesn't take long when you're spending $7 and $8, $9 million a month for it to disappear. So if you're sitting there saying, well, why am I paying such taxes? Well, we need it. Yeah, we need it to operate. Thank you, Lisa, for the report. Payment of invoices and accounts payable. You have a listing in your, hopefully you had a chance to go over. Do I have a motion to approve or any corrections?
I would like to make one correction on that sheet on page 22. The chart at the top reflects accounts payable listing December 2023. December is actually a typo. That should say January 2023. I'm sorry, 24, yes. January 2024.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have 2 seconds, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it was unanimous. Citizens time. Perfect timing, just got to my desk. Okay, before it starts, you want to read this letter in? You don't need to, Sean.
Either one.
Okay, we have a letter here from Miss Deborah Partridge of Troutdale. And I apologize for my reading, but I'll try to read it here. To whom it concerns. The project being promoted by the power company that will result in the loss of our trash dumpsters is short-sighted. It took us years to clean up these roads. Taking our trash to Sugar Grove is simply not realistic. Neither is Washington County's Love Mill. It's just not practical or fair. Pushing this project as a solution to the poor service that we consistently receive from our landline telephones and internet is a bully tactic. We pay enough already to stay connected. The loss of our trash dumpsters is not necessary and will cause undue hardships in the community. Please prevent this project from being set up on our trash site. There must be other options. Most sincerely, D. Partridge. I found out about this about 15 minutes ago. And the gist of it is, you in the audience and want to know, from what we're hearing, Appalachian Power wants to put a battery storage unit. We don't own the property. It's in Washington County.
It's in Smyth County, but Washington County owns it.
Right. So, you know, we have a handshake lease, so that makes that sort of hard to enforce. We will do and I'm going to say this before we get started here, we'll do everything we can to make sure we have a site in that area. In other words, I agree with the lady in the letter here, we don't need to be hauling the trash all the way to Sugar Grove or somewhere like that. You know, you pay taxes the same as everybody else. We will work something out to get you a trash dumpster area in that part of the county. Sean, you wanna add to that?
Yeah, I'll just throw out that I have had some conversations with Mr. Berry in Washington County, the county administrator in Washington County. They have every expectation to set up a new convenience center, but they wanna put it in their county. It'll be about somewhere around a mile away, closer to the Mount Rogers Rescue Squad. That's the one, is that the one close to Green Cove Community Center?
So they want to jump just across the county line.
Yeah.
And they're looking for property there to hopefully place a new convenience station. And we're working with them to hopefully have an agreement to where our citizens will be able to use that convenience station.
But I will say, you know, that's still, they don't have the site picked out or anything like that, but I will say that if we can't work something out with them, you know, I don't want to speak for the 7 up here, but I'll do everything I can that you tell me to do to make sure we have something on our side of the county line.
I think it's at least 2 of us here agrees that way,
Right.
because Jason would be
Oh, yeah.
crazy not to.
If I remember correctly, the convenience sites are set up to where no one has to drive more than 5 miles-ish, roundabout, plus or minus,
Thereabouts.
so to get one. So we'll do our best to find something.
So if you live in that area, we will have not abandoned you, we will get something worked out.
I think we have a similar agreement with Washington County already, like at the Love's Mill. Or
Yeah,
at Sobel, 'cause I see a lot of people from Washington County coming in there.
That one is operated by us, but located in Washington County, but we can't find anything written. I think it's, again, a kind of a handshake gentleman's agreement from decades ago. But yeah, I'm committed to making sure we find something.
I just wanted to start it out with that, because I know several of you are here for that, so, our first, citizen is Roby Parks Jr. Step forward and state your name and address for the, record, please.
Roby Parks Jr., 187 Churchland Drive, Atkins, Virginia. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. A couple of you are new. In reference to the junk and the campers in front of my house, me and Mr. Charlie talked the other night. I now have 3 in front of my house. They're sitting on state right-of-way. The person is living in it with 2 other people now. They have dogs. They have no running water, no sewer, no electricity. Burning their trash right there on at the side. I told you the other night that they had pulled one of the cars out February the 6th. 6 propane tanks sitting there right beside the hardtop. That's in front of my house. Car comes through there and hits them, well, you can imagine what's going to happen. This has been an ongoing issue for 4 years now. I know you give me an update, but I wanted to come before the board and county attorney. I know we've got some problems with some dogs up there. I told you didn't think they were being taken care of. I think that's getting to be a health issue. You're gonna wind up with rats. I mean, my well is in my front yard. And hopefully, I'll get to retire in a year. I hope I don't have to look at that mess. I've talked to Mr. Clegg here. Me and him's talked about it a whole lot. I've talked to Chip Schuler. They have a company up there. They park in the middle of the road. And me and Mr. Charlie here, I talked to him about, when they put the road up there, they never did get a permit for that. You told me that they had to have a permit if they disturbed so much property. They done quite a bit of grading there. That's been, what, 2 years ago? That's about all I got. I was like to see if we can't get something done.
You want to say anything?
Sure, I can sort of bring everybody up to speed on that. So, he is referring to Churchland Drive. This is in Atkins. The property's been declared a zoning violation. We have taken the owner to court. There was, basically an issue with notice, because there are multiple property owners. And Scott can jump in here any minute, but, Scott, has been working very hard to track down all of the owners. We have managed to track down some of the heirs in, I think, Louisiana.
Yeah, all the heirs are in Louisiana except the person that lives on the property, and they're trying to get that land transferred to the one that lives here, so they don't get drug into a lawsuit. So I've been a little courteous on that. They've hired an attorney here in Marion that they're waiting on at this point, and I'm communicating a little bit with that attorney, trying to find the status of that. But as soon as that attorney gets that deed prepared, gets those guys out of Louisiana off of it, then I'm moving to amend the lawsuit to say I've got all the right owners now. I'm just trying to avoid suing the people in Louisiana. Because when I contacted them in December or November, they don't want anything to do with it, right? It's family, it's some distant cousin or whatever, and they know her, but they're trying to get out of it, right?
I can understand that.
So they just don't want any part of it. So they've hired an attorney, and they're waiting on that attorney to take some action. So that's where we are. Hopefully in the next month or so, we'll have something. If not, I'll just have to sue those people in Louisiana, which what I've been trying to avoid, because it takes a long time to serve them out of state. But that's where I'm at on the zoning violation, the junkyard thing, that we have the ability to enforce. The road and the dogs, that's a different issue that I'm dealing with. So.
Well, if you need me, Mr. Charlie's got my phone number, Mr. Clegg.
I understand. I sat on it for a long time, and I apologize, but I'm on it. It's on my front burner at the moment, so I'm trying to keep it there.
I do know, I had a deputy to tell me that the house is not livable.
I think that's why they're living in the campers, but I'm not sure.
Well,
The family thought she was living in the campers. Or
What
she
I'm
doesn't
worried,
have
what
water
I'm
and
worried
electricity.
about is, no running water, no sewer. Where's that going?
Right.
I mean, I've had the health department up there too.
Okay. Yeah, that's another avenue to pursue if they'll do something. So.
Okay,
But that's
all.
my update for you. So.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
All I got, Charlie. Thank you. Thank you, Clegg.
No problem.
Bradley Powers, come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Of course. Bradley Powers, 1245 South Main, Marion. I just wanted to come. I made it back from Richmond from the second training event of 2024 and just say congratulations to Charlie for being selected as chair, Mike as vice chair, and Rick and Jason as new members of the board. And thank you all for everything that you do. To give you an update with the Commissioner's Office, it has been a very busy first month and a few days. We are in full force trying to get everything prepared for 2024. And in that, Sean has been extremely helpful in working with us. So is Lisa, and many things. And we've got a great team set up now. Moving forward, we are looking forward to quite a bit of improvement and implementing some policy changes that's going to bring uniformity to everything. That way, at any given moment, we can let anyone know where something is in a process and how a process is actually supposed to take place. Because right now, if we're going over a meals tax issue, we don't know how that process is because it's never been laid out in a strict flow. And that's one of the things that's getting ready to change, and we're actually going to be able to say everything is uniform the way it's supposed to be by code. So I just wanted to come by, since I haven't had a chance in January since I've been slammed, but to give you all that update, and again let you all know if you have any questions at all. I believe everyone here has my cell phone, and if you don't, I'll give it to you. Feel free to reach out.
Congratulations on your election.
Well, thank you. Anything else, you just holler.
Next, we have Tom Hallstetter. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
You hit it right on the nose.
Come forward and state your name again and your address.
Tom Hostetler. Address is 266 Swamp Road, Troutdale. That's my postal address. I'm much closer to Conner Rock than I am Troutdale. Basically, that intersects with Laurel Valley Road. I have two subjects I want to touch on. What you've, Mr. Chairman, what you've already touched on with the trash situation. I moved here permanently in 2007. I've been coming down here since the mid-90s, and there's been a lot done on cleaning up along the highways because of people have a place to take their stuff. One big area that I've noticed, I don't know how many of you travel the 84 Forest Road, but I get back in there hunting quite a bit. And when I first started going in there, there was appliances, tires, you name it. Somebody drive up there 2 miles, kick the tailgate of a pickup open, and there's a washer and a dryer down over the bank. It still is some, but it's not nearly as bad because there's a facility to take that stuff. It's bad enough just people throwing stuff out the car windows between Joe Howie and Laurel Valley Road on 600. I mean, you've got the bad boys over there at least once a month picking up trash. It's disgusting, and that's really not the subject that we're trying to adhere, but the bottom line is we have a trash issue. So if we eliminate what we've got altogether, it's going to get worse. Enough about that subject. The second subject is that I'd like to talk about. I spent 25 years in the fire service in Pennsylvania. When things become a health and safety issue, I get concerned. Telephone service in Laurel Valley is next thing to awful. It's not even that we don't have any cell phone coverage. It's half the time the landlines don't work. God forbid we have a storm. We have power outages. We got nothing. No phones. My wife and I operate off of a modem which runs off a hard line for our cell phones. Now that's my doing, but our landline service was so bad we decided to go with the cell phone. Now at least we have it right there at the house. I walk 100 feet from the house, that's gone. My concern is with the recreation that we've got going in that area, between the horse camps, the Appalachian Trail hikers, the Creeper Trail bicycle people, and all the rest of the people that come into that valley in the summertime for recreation because it's a pretty place. We got nothing. If somebody's got a heart attack, they fall off a horse, they fall off a bicycle, they're hurt real bad, there's nothing. I've been up, there's a road that goes up to the White Top. It's a pretty darn good road. There's already a tower up there. From what I understand, it's for fire and police. There's not a good reason in the world why another tower couldn't go up there. There's a road there to maintain it. All I'm asking is consideration, and I'm sure, me being the newbie, this isn't the first time this subject's been brought up. So I'm asking somebody to look into it because communication as a whole in that valley is bad. It's bad. Not only just for emergencies, but for everything else. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I actually have formed a pretty good relationship with CenturyLink, or who is the new Century, is it Lumens? I'm happy to reach out to them about the issue in Conner Rock for the phone service, for the landline phone service issues. I think the thing that we've always stumbled with on the cell phone, the tower that you're talking about is actually on National Forest or the National Recreation Area, and it's been quite difficult for us to even get an additional antenna on existing towers, much less a new tower. But we do have those conversations quite often, and we'll keep doing them.
I'm guessing if a tower could go up in that area, you could probably almost have cell from Troutdale to Damascus.
Yeah, you can grab a lot.
And you lose it a mile out of Chilhowie on 600. So there's a great big dead zone in there.
I live about 1.1 miles out of Chilhowie, so I feel that.
I think, going back to history a little bit, I remember years ago, we tried to go there, and National Forest fought us on that. They, I don't know what their reasoning was, but we've got new people up there now, maybe we need to readdress that. But
So we do have an antenna up there for emergency communication.
Right.
The real problem is you have to convince a commercial business to put an antenna on that tower. I mean, you can build a tower, but until the Sprints and the T-Mobiles put an antenna up there, there is no coverage. And that's the bottom line problem. Convincing a commercial entity that it's worth their money to put an antenna on that tower. And that's something that several months ago, there was a lot of conversation. They wanted to expand the service, but for whatever reason, that we're not having those conversations anymore. So, and we hear this conversation, we have this conversation in Sugar Grove, we have it in Rich Valley. I mean, it's all over the county. And so we're constantly looking for opportunities to bring increased cell coverage. But at the end of the day, you've got to convince that commercial business to invest the money to put the antenna on the tower.
Okay, going back to the landlines, excuse me for taking up more time. It seems like every time we lose our power, and we never know when. I mean, the least little bit of storm, we could be out for an hour, we can be out for 8, 10, or days. The point is, for some reason, a lot of us don't have even our landlines when we have no power. Is that true? Okay, so there's something driving those boxes down on the road that has to have electric to it in order for us to have phones. So my point is, if the electric is out, you can't even make a phone call if you need a fire department or you need an ambulance or something like that. And that's ridiculous. In today's world, this is what we got to put up with. It's inexcusable. It really is.
Really, CenturyLink, and that was part of the reason I've been having problems with my phone. I mean, you have a dial tone. You can't receive incoming calls. You can, but it's
Bright speed now.
oh, bright speed, whatever. They're not fixing it. I mean, they'll come over and do what they gotta do down at that transform, whatever that place is down there. Oh, it's fixed now. They call from their phone. If you answer, it's fixed now. And you don't know it's not working until you have to find out you missed an appointment because they tried to call you. I mean, it's aggravating. It really is. And in an emergency, we're just done for.
okay, let's keep it in mind here. You have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, I know it's not been long, we approved this tower at Sanker's Creek. And we're getting ready to approve one in Sugar Grove, and then the company withdrew the applications, didn't they?
So, yes. So, one was applied for and approved in St. Clair Creek. One was applied for in Sugar Grove, but they pulled the application before the public hearing. So that was during a period of time when all of these cell companies wanted to expand, and we were having conversations all the time. For whatever reason, they pulled back from that effort. And so, and as far as the landline, I think there's going to be some conversations in the near future that may offer some help for that. And then obviously, Sean's willing to go to bat and talk to.
I didn't mean to jump ahead.
You're fine. But hopefully there's a solution coming for the problem that you're describing.
It's not a good situation right now.
I understand.
I agree with you. We'll do all we can. 100%.
Thank you.
This young man at the end down here will be having conversations with the proper people to try to get it moving and moving quickly. I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
All righty, I'm going to the next subject then, our next person. Brenda Shepherd. Come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Brenda Shepherd, address 643 Laurel Valley Road, Troutdale, Virginia, 24378. Okay, the reason that I've come here today is, we're hearing, well, a few letters come out. All of us didn't get letters. And it come from AEP, and they've been through 2 stages, and all that's left is for the SCC to approve what they're going to do. So it sounds to me like our trash dumpster over there, trash compactor and all that will be gone. And like I said, I've lived there 73 years, and this trash situation, or where we can take it down there, and it's just been wonderful. It's made such a difference, you know, in the counties, and the elderly people, you know, can take their trash, and there's a lot of places over there it uses at the community center, the Wilderness Trail, churches, Blue Ridge, and there's more, you know, that uses these trash containers. But my main concern is for us that, see if we can get a trash place somewhere else. But, you know, this evidently is sold. I don't know if all the equipment was sold to, the compactor and everything. I don't know if all that was sold or not. But I know we've had a few guys that's sitting in here that's actually come and talked with us and visited with us and ate breakfast with us. And it's just wonderful, you know, that we've got people that's getting involved in what's going on over there, because we're kind of the tail end of the county and forgot about. But now this trash situation, it means a lot to me. It does. We've got a beautiful valley, and I'd like to keep it that way. And now this is just my opinion. I wished it would go in Smyth County, the trash dumpster and all that. It would be better, because I heard a couple times that the agreement was with a handshake. You better get it all wrote down on paper, legal, because it can come back and bite you. So if they do anything else, put it in Smyth County, get it wrote down in black and white and legalized, and that way we won't be losing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next we have Patty Blevins.
He'd not heard from me. I'm sorry. Patty Blevins, 1324 Laurel Valley Road, Troutdale, Virginia. And I had my say about the phones. It's lousy. I mean, if they just fix, instead of calling you and say it's done. You have a dial tone, but I'm not getting incoming calls. I can make phone calls out most of the time, not all the time. But it's just like playing musical chairs with your TV, with your telephones up and down through our road, isn't it? But the only other thing I got a question, because y'all said that y'all were gonna have us a place that we would have. Would that be ready before the other one is taken out?
I would love to say yes, but I'm not sure that we can guarantee that yet, because we don't know the timing of what
Right.
Washington County is. But we're
We're gonna work hard.
going to work hard to make sure there's no lapse. There might be, but
Yeah,
we're gonna
I'm
work
just
our
like,
best to
yeah, I
make
can
sure.
remember what it was like back in the day, and you'd see
Right.
a couch.
Sitting everywhere.
It didn't matter if it was your church, driving, I bet it's come so far, and we have a lot of tourists through there anymore because of White Top. And, you know, they come because it's so pretty. They'll tell you that right off the hand, you know, they love it there. And I believe that we would go nothing but backwards if we didn't have a place. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morgan.
Getting old. It's hard to get up. Anna Lee DeBoard, 343 College Street, Marion, Virginia. I just want to come give you an update on the museum. As of right now, the uniform, the Civil War uniform, is in Richmond. She sent us a picture of the before, and then she sent us a picture of after she had it dry cleaned, and it was amazing. And then the big holes, not the bullet holes, but the big holes, she was able to find wool that matches the same kind of wool in the uniform, and she's got it dyed to match. So we are hoping to have it back in April, and when we get it in, we're going to have a reception and invite all of you all who helped make this whole thing possible, and we're getting excited. Our trouble is we had planned to put it in a display case that we were given, But I'd forgotten, even though he was short, this coat went all the way down to his knees. And so when we put it in our display case, the top part's gonna stick out without any protective glass. So we're beating the bushes. If you know anybody that has a large display cabinet that would sell it to us cheap or donate it, we would love to have one. We're looking into possibly having Margaret Linford's husband build us one. And so keep your fingers crossed, but we will have it on display, but we want to, with as much money as it's gone into restoring it, we want to make sure it's displayed correctly. So we open in April. We've got speakers coming April through October, and right now I've got one more speaker to find, and then I'll have our slate, and I'll bring in a list of, but one cool one that you might enjoy is the one on Bigfoot. So, yeah, Dan Kegley's going to do that one. We've got the Lucy Crockett House. Lauren Ray's going to talk about it. We've got just all kinds of people I have beat the bushes to try to get to come in. They'll be on Sunday afternoons. The thirds, we set it as the third Sunday in every month at 2 o'clock. So you can go to church, go out and eat, and then come on down to the museum and hang out with us. And any questions? I just want to let you know that we appreciate y'all helping fund us and keeping us going. So, yes, Mike.
Emily, I just want to say thank you for all y'all's hard work down there preserving the history of Smyth County. That is a really, if you haven't been down there to see that museum, it's really worth your time to go down there. They've done an amazing job.
Thank you. And it's kind of intimidating to realize that we are charged with protecting and keeping all this safe. So if I can figure out how to do it, I'm going to put a little quick PowerPoint together for next meeting and show you behind the scenes, like some of the stuff we've got on the second and third floor that the general public doesn't see, but that we haul out and put as window displays. And we're working on a moonshining display. We were able to get a still, and we're going to set it up in the window and have it going, and then have the actual, yeah, if y'all know where any extra stills are. Yeah, unfortunately, and they fixed it, the sheriff's department fixed it so it doesn't work. But
my damn steel went.
dang, no, that's good. But yeah, so that's going to be our display. So, and then when we get the uniform back, we're going to have display boards that tell about the gentleman's life. And like I've told you before, he lived in the house at 7 Mile Ford. So it's got that tie to the community. So we're ready. It's about to wear us out, but we're and if you need to come in right now, from now till April, just bang on the door, because we're in there, but we're putting things away and straightening things up and trying to get Christmas trees put away. So.
Do you know what size case?
Max was looking at one that was probably about maybe 3 feet wide, square, and then glass going up, and it needs to be up probably about 4.5 to 5 feet tall.
Have you looked at any, at the costs or anything
Yes,
like that?
the costs are ridiculous. The cost is more than the money that it's going to take to restore the uniform. It was for $5,000 for a case. So I know it was ridiculous, but we still have glass panels that were in the Parks building when we moved in. So we're going to see if we can't get whoever possibly could build us one to use glass that we already have, so we don't have to spend more money. But it's going to be, I mean, Max said today, he said, I bet I could build it if I just, but if you use glass, it's going to be really heavy. So we'll have to have it on casters. And
Is that anything the truck school?
Well,
I don't know.
the only woodworking class we have is building trades. They work on homes, building things.
Fine craft, fine carpet.
We could potentially, I was trying to think if we had any in our ag buildings. That's what I'm trying to think if we,
oh, wow.
Let me ponder on that for a while.
Okay, or stuck in a closet somewhere, or I've called the William King, I've called Daniel Shue in Bristol, just everybody I could think of to see if they had one stuck in a closet somewhere that we could clean up, and Marketplace doesn't even have one.
Lee, if you'll email me the dimensions you're looking for,
Okay.
let me send out a feeler to all our schools potentially to see if there's.
Thank you, because hopefully there's one somewhere, like in.
Is there anything special that has to be done to that case to protect the
It will-
jacket once it comes back? I mean.
No, it will have to have a glass top. So right now, when we get it back, we will put it in with the top, like foot, sticking out of the top.
But I was just thinking, is there anything as far as, you know, preserve it to keep it from further deteriorating once you get it back? Does
I
it have
don't,
to be
I think
sealed?
as long as it's sealed in glass, you know, we'll have doors that will open, but they'll seal kind of as they shut, and we'll keep the humidity in the right.
Perfect.
But thanks to the, you know, our electric bill was nuts last month, but thanks to the system that you all helped us buy, the humidity back in that back section is good. There's no mold, there's no mildew on the documents or the books, so keep our fingers crossed, and we sure appreciate it. And like next time I'll show you what you're missing. Or anytime you want to come down, I'll lug you upstairs if you want to. There is no elevator in that building, so it can be a challenge. So, but thank you.
Try calling around some of the jewelry stores. Took them out of service.
Right.
For
Okay.
the case.
Right.
They usually just pile in the back.
I hadn't thought about that, but so we've got what, Goodman's and Avery Cornett's and.
Yes, even some that's went out of business.
Okay.
Pharmacies or something like that.
Yes, that
They
would.
have displays cases.
That would be, thank you. We were just like, uh-oh, it's not gonna fit, but now thank you, I appreciate the ideas. Thanks, okay.
That's all I had signed up. Is anyone else wishing to speak? Here's your chance. We have to listen to you. Hearing none, I'll close citizens' time. Old business. Committee reports. Budget committee, Mr.
Happy to take that.
Please.
Yes, the budget committee did have a meeting on the January 31st, and we had 3 items that we discussed. The first was the budget amendment that included some requests from the Commissioner of Revenue's office for some additional supplies and some furniture for office furniture replacements. And then we also had a $60,000 grant from the Sheriff's Office related to vehicle purchases. We had a $440,000 grant to buy equipment and vehicles, and the state added $60,000 at the end of December to try and spend some of their money. So the total amendment was $81,072. After conversation and discussion, Mr. Widener made a motion to recommend approving the budget amendment in the amount of $81,072, and Mr. Sturgill seconded the motion as a motion or a recommendation from committee. Glad to answer any questions if you have. And I will say in your packet tab, orange tab, the front is the draft resolution and exhibit.
Okay, that's a motion from the committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries.
Okay. Next item we talked about, we've been asked by the Sheriff's Office to consider or exploring the option of through VRS to increase the multiplier for LEOs, for law enforcement officers. Currently, the county, I guess back in the 60s, 50s, whenever we joined VRS, we chose to go with the lower multiplier of 1.7. We can go up as high as 1.85, and basically what that is it's a higher retirement benefit to law enforcement officers. It's calculated based on all of our VRS, but the benefit is to the law enforcement officers. The question or the request came from the Sheriff's Office as a more of a recruiting tool, because a lot of our peers and adjacent to us are moving or have already moved toward that 1.85, and it's a good thing for the officers to come in and know in 20 years they'll get $300 or $400 more on their retirement monthly retirement checks versus what we would provide. So we asked VRS to price out. And do you have that?
I do.
Okay. Do you want to?
As Sean mentioned, the rate is, with VRS, we have a biennium rate. It changes every other July. So we're set for an increase July 1 anyway. But to increase the multiplier factor for law enforcement officer would change that rate that's coming up in July from 11.33 to 12.20, which would result in an overall difference, an annual difference of $88,000. So that's based on total salary, but the deputies are the ones who receive the benefit when they retire.
And on the back side of the orange tab is a summary from VRS. It's a little complicated, but I wanted to get that to you. Just it gives you the summary or explanation from VRS. I don't see it as a bad thing. I mean, it's going to cost a little bit, but it certainly would be a worthwhile investment in recruiting. So the budget committee did discuss it, but with Mr. Widener's employment at the sheriff's office, there wasn't a recommendation that came out of the budget committee. We felt it'd be best to come to the full board without recommendation here, just for discussion purposes. And I guess we have two options. We could elect to go now, effective. It would probably be effective March 1st, or we could elect to work it into the budget and have it July 1st. Either option.
We actually have three options. I was going to not do anything. So
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
So really, we got first we need to decide: are we going to do it? And if we are going to do it, when do we want it to be effective?
Yes, sir.
So that's our two questions. First off, I would entertain a motion to do it or not do it, whichever way you want to word it.
I'll make that motion.
To do it?
To do it.
Okay. Have a motion to second.
Effective date.
Okay, you're with the town of Marion, so you.
Yeah, it won't affect me.
Oh, affect you, okay. I had to think for a second there, Rick.
I was thinking the whole time, because I couldn't wait to second something.
All right. Okay, we'll get that another motion. All right, we have a motion and a second to effectively change, to increase the multiplier. Any discussion?
Is there an effective date? Would you rather do, or this is just to do it
Yep.
first? Okay.
Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor of doing it signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like that was unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I'll abstain.
Okay. All right, now I'll entertain, when do we want to make, I suggest we make it effective July 1. That's our new year. Hopefully it won't have anybody retiring or doing anything that's going to, because it kicks in as soon as we do that, it kicks into anybody retiring. So sheriff's going to keep his deputies till July 1 that way.
I'll make a motion to make it become effective July 1st.
Okay.
2024.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 6-0-1. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, sir. The only other thing that we talked about at the budget committee was just an update on the timeline for the bond financing from Davenport for the teleperformance renovations. You had that in the last board meeting. Nothing's changed, and they hope to come to the February 22nd meeting to present the financing options, the results of the RFP and the VRA option, or VRA funding option. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
All righty, let's move right on into the Public Safety Committee. Mr. Courtney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee had met. Mr. Rudd updated the committee on the Marion Fire EMS chief position. He had shared that an appointment offer was made to the top candidate that was selected by the town and also other members, but it was subsequently declined by the candidate. Mr. Rudd noted that he had attended most of the recent Marion Town Council meetings in which this was discussed in great detail in closed session at the end of the meeting. Town Council formally requested the County Public Safety meeting to work with the town's Police and Fire Committee with planned second interviews of the two remaining internal candidates on Tuesday, February the 27th. Discussion ensued about the best path forward ultimately, the committee agreed to reach out to members of the town council, get a better idea of their expectations, but felt a joint meeting would be beneficial to move forward.
I'll go ahead and add, we did have some conversations at the, last week's VML-VECO meeting, met up with a couple of the council members there, and I think, I don't want to speak for the committee, but I think after those conversations, the committee was comfortable with moving forward with helping with the second interviews on the 27th. And those will start at 4 o'clock, and we'll have a notice and everything go out.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Planning Commission recommendations. Craig will go over those.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first application that we heard at last month's public hearing was from Mr. Charles Bridgers. He had filed an application to rezone some property on scratch gravel from residential to agricultural rural. After that public hearing, Mr. Spence made a motion to recommend to the board that his request be approved and it be rezoned to agricultural rural.
What's the pleasure of the board? This is a gentleman from Richmond who wanted to build a house on this property.
Planning commission was unanimous.
Yes, it was unanimous, I'm sorry.
And this is where one part of it was already AR.
So, he wound up with 3 tracks. Two of the 3 tracks were zoned several years ago to residential because the owner at the time wanted to develop a residential subdivision. Our ordinance obligated him to do that. It was never developed. This gentleman has come in, bought all 3 tracks, so he winds up with 1/3 of his property AR, 2/3 residential. He has no desire to create a residential subdivision. He wants a house and some farm animals, and so he has asked that it be rezoned. And then I'll also add that he has now legally erased the interior lot line, so it's no longer 3 pieces of property. He now owns 1 tract of land.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve
I'll second.
the recommendation.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it carries.
All right, thank you. The second application we had came to us from DeBusk Farms LLC. Some of you may remember approximately 6 years ago they applied for a special use permit to establish a recreational vehicle park on Buckeye Hollow Road in Salville. When the initial request was approved, there were 2 conditions placed on that special use permit. One, that it would expire in 6 years, and the second, that it would only be made available to AEP subcontractors. With that permit expiring soon, they came in, they reapplied. After the public hearing, the planning commission reconvened. Mr. Spence made a motion to recommend to the board that Mr. DeBusk's special use permit be approved with one condition, and that it expire in 6 years. That motion was seconded by Mr. Campbell, and it was unanimously passed.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? I believe that was unanimous.
All right, thank you. The last application we had was another special use permit application. This was filed by Mr. Craig Harper. Mr. Harper was interested in locating his service business on property located next to 174 Southwood Lane, identified as tax map number 41A-4-2. After the public hearing, the planning commission reconvened, and there was much discussion. Ultimately, Mr. Spence made a motion to recommend the board of supervisors deny the special use permit requested by Mr. Harper. Mr. Campbell seconded that motion, and it passed unanimously. Do you want to hear this, what happened next, or do you want to go ahead and consider that?
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
So, following that motion, there was more discussion about possible solutions, and ultimately Mr. Davidson Jr. made a motion to recommend the Board of Supervisors schedule a public hearing to consider a map amendment to rezone Mr. Harper's property from agricultural rural to commercial. The motion was seconded by Mr. Spence, and it was a ultimately the motion passed with 5 voting in favor. No one voted against it, and 2 abstained from that. So effectively, they're recommending that you deny the special use permit and you consider rezoning the property or scheduling the public hearing to rezone the property commercial.
Got a question, Clay.
Sure.
If you deny the special use, come up with commercial next, have a public hearing and everything, what all, is that gonna take in if that would pass his particular piece of property only, or any surrounding?
I would assume you would only want to apply that to his property. So, if it were rezoned to commercial, the thought process was that would do a couple of things. Number one, farming is not allowed in the commercial district. And so all of the concerns about the pigs and the goats would go away, because once it's rezoned to commercial, then he would no longer be allowed to farm it. Now his service business would be allowed by right, which means if it were rezoned, he could move that in. And then any other use that's allowed in the commercial district would also be allowed by right.
Sure, go ahead.
Did you?
Go ahead, I'm glad.
Well, the question I have on that, I mean, has Mr. Harper requested that to be changed, or is that just a recommendation?
So that's the recommendation from the planning commission, all right? Now, as you remember, Mr. Harper was not present at the public hearing. I think he had a medical procedure, but he is present tonight. And if you would like to hear from him, I'm sure he would be happy to come up and answer any questions you may have.
I don't wanna get into a public, excuse me, I don't wanna get into a public hearing, but I think we need to give him the right to come up and get his 3 minutes in here, what he has to say.
Okay.
You wanna ask your question first, Rick, or?
I'll wait until he gets done.
Okay.
He may answer.
Hello, gentlemen.
Name and address for the record, please.
James Craig Harper, 160 Harper Lane, Saltville, Virginia. The last meeting was the third meeting. Third time we have tried to get this special use permit. The neighbors don't want me to farm it with pigs and goats. They don't want me to put a tow business in. It's like they don't want nothing there. And it's been a battle. I would just soon go ahead and zone it commercial, be done with it, over, finished. If you have any questions, be more than happy to answer them.
So, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You'd be happy with not being able to farm it?
Yeah, that'd be fine with me.
That'd be okay with you. I come by there today and looked, you got room for a road too. VDOT had a question there about a road or something we didn't, they would have to, but we don't. Look, that's good, I just wonder if you would be satisfied with that.
Yeah, that's, like I say, I'm tired of kicking this can down the road. I mean, it's just,
I bet you are.
I've tried to, well, to start off with, before I bought the property, I approached one of the neighbors. Fine, do what you know, won't bother us, we're up on the hill. Then I bought the property, went back and talked to him, told him what I was doing both times, wanted to put a tow business in. That's fine, it won't bother us, we live up on the hill. Then when I come to get a special use permit, those are the ones that beat me in the ground on it. And I've even told them, it's on record, the second meeting up here, if they don't want me there, that's fine, buy it. It's for sale if they want to buy it.
Now, you would have to go through the request to have that rezoned, right? Is that what?
We gotta have public hearing.
Okay.
I guess I got a question. So when we had the hearing, they were talking about the entrance, and currently the entrance would have to come off of the, I'll call it private drive there, the gravel road.
Right,
Would you still plan on accessing it off of that road?
if possible, because I'd have to go back and look, it's a 40 or 60 foot right of way.
And I would, I guess, entertain an answer from Clay, since he knows more about that than I do.
What my thing is some of them have kicked around, well, put another entrance off of Valley Road. Well, if you do that, then you're gonna have two entrances close together. You're also gonna be backing me up closer to 107, so if you're coming in off 107, you're gonna have traffic stopping a lot quicker than what it is now. I mean, to make the turn in, you're shortening the distance from 107 to an access.
Exactly.
Rick, you had a question.
So,
I know we said before that you were wanting to keep it to where you could eventually build a house, so.
I've given up that idea. If I want to build a house, I'll go somewhere and buy me another piece of property. Pretty
Well,
simple.
my, I guess, comment was, I don't know how to word it, because I'm not politically correct.
Me neither.
But, I mean, if a man wants to build a house on his property, he ought to be able to build a house on his property, but, and that's why I would say, you know, not turn it into commercial, and that's what I was gonna ask, but.
I'd just soon
if
go ahead
you're
and do-
fine with it, that's.
Well, the hogs and goats and such that I've got there seems to be one of the biggest conflicts, controversies. You know, more than happy to go commercial, that way I can't farm it, they can quit worrying about their problem with that. I've tried to do everything I possibly can to kindly appease them, but it just seems hopeless, just to be honest. If I say yay, they say nay. If I say nay, they say yay, so.
If we rezone it commercial, would you be putting the car
Towing business.
towing business there?
I'd like to build a building somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 by 40, big enough to house 2 rollbacks or a rollback and a wrecker. What it is the breaking point for what is considered tow zones in the county breaks the center of Valley Road. I'm on the Chilhowie side, my property is. That would give me opportunity to expand out into the Chilhowie zone, which would include Chilhowie zone interstate. I'm in Saltville zone now, have been for years, no interstate. You know, it's a little tough to make it in Saltville.
Any other questions for Mr. Harper? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Blake.
We got a letter we need to.
Read it. I've got it here. So there is a letter in your packet, page 114. I'll read it into the minutes. Board of Supervisors, Bagley Circle, Marion, Virginia 24354. 2 members of the Board of Supervisors. This letter is in regards to Mr. James Craig Harper's request for a special use permit for a service business. As adjoining landowners, we are seeking your help in maintaining the land's current zoning as agricultural rural. Under the current zoning, the property maintains its natural aesthetics. Mr. Harper has a plan with little sustenance. There's simply a 50-foot building with a 50 by 50 storage lot. We have great concerns that no stipulations will be set in place to protect us or the extended community, and fear that our beautiful community will take on the appearance of other such business properties that Mr. Harper owns and operates. We rest assured that the Board of Supervisors will handle this in an appropriate manner. Signed by Mr. and Mrs. Woodyard, Mr. and Mrs. Carter, Mr. and Mrs. Morgan, and Mr. and Mrs. Dinsmore.
Thank you. Okay, I'm listening. Anybody got any recommendations or?
I'd like to make a motion to go with the planning commission's suggestion, deny the special use permit, and set a public hearing to rezone it.
Okay, we have a motion.
I ask a question to Clay first.
Sure. Go ahead.
If you were to rezone this commercial, that's gonna open his entire property up for the tow business, right?
Correct.
So
And
he-
any other use allowed by right in the commercial district.
So my wonders is, whoever sent this letter, do they realize that it's not gonna be just a 50 by 50, it's gonna open the entire, or is that why they're fighting?
I mean, it really is a double-edged sword for both sides, right? If it goes commercial, if the biggest concern is the farming, then the easy fix is to rezone it to commercial, all right? The slippery slope there is that it opens the door for every potential use in the commercial district, and we only have 15-foot setback requirements, so he could go as close as 15 feet to the property lines. On the flip side of that, if it remains agriculture rural, if the special use permit's approved, his tow business goes there, but he can still raise his pigs and his goats. And so that's the challenging part to this. There's pros and cons to either avenue.
Farms,
You know, told me too, that they would rather it stay farming. But, I mean, even if a tow business going there, if I'm wrong, correct me, somebody from Fort Clay, there's some restrictions on junkyard kind of places, isn't there?
Yeah, he can't turn it into a junkyard. I mean, if he crosses the line and turns it into a junkyard, then that's a different use. It's defined differently in our ordinance.
Let me back up a second. We have a motion. Let's get a second on that before we finish the discussion. Anybody want to second that?
Just for conversation. I'll second it just so we continue.
Okay, now we have a second. Now, any discussion? Go ahead, Roscoe.
Well, I just had the communications with them, and first they started off, well, like Clegg said, they didn't want the car business there. Said they didn't want a junkyard in their front yard or on their property, and I can sympathize with that from anybody. So, okay, well, he got turned down on that, and come up now this, then they're scared that it's gonna be a junkyard going in there, which has some restrictions, like we was talking about it. You know, you can't just make a junkyard out of nothing. He has restrictions on probably what he can do with his business there too. Just so many cars or certain length of time or something like that, right? Craig?
Most of my cars come and go.
Yeah. So,
You'll have one occasionally that'll be impounded for 30 days. That's usually the longest time, and it's usually impounded by law enforcement.
I see, so they're scared that it's gonna develop into a junkyard.
If I've got something that,
It can't.
if I've got something that belongs to an individual that refuses to come pay and pick it up, I've got another facility I can take it to. Originally, I was only asking for enough room to store 8 cars. State police says I had to have it to qualify for a tow lot. Now they've backed off. I don't even have to have a storage lot, but I have to be willing to go to a different pickup area and bring them back to that lot for pickup if the customer or whoever demands it. So I just want enough storage to store what I have to store.
So now when they talk to me, they said, we wanna just forget about the special use thing and leave it the way it is.
Or as far as rezoning.
With farm
And that's really a question I've got, because you know, ultimately, I think that should be up to Mr. Harper, and, you know, I wanna make sure that, you know, that is what he wants to do. You know, if that's his final decision and he wants that done, I mean, I don't see any reason with us moving forward with that, but for me, it just seems like there's still questioning that in his mind, maybe based on the history of all this. And, you know, if it's something that you would want to keep in the current AR, is that correct?
Currently zoned AR, yes, sir.
Keep it in the current AR, you know, us just looking to move forward.
Well,
with that, so.
I can't keep up with the meetings now. Second meeting, we went over it. That area was already projected by the county to become commercial property through that area anyway in the future. So I just said go ahead and go commercial with it now.
Yeah, you'll have to elaborate.
All right, so he's referencing our comprehensive plan, which ironically we're going to have a public hearing on in just a few weeks. And he's correct. I mean, the last time we revised the comprehensive plan, we identified that area for commercial development. You know, it's on 107. It's right at the crossroads. Across the street, you have Rita's. Opposite side of 107, you have automobile sales and service establishment. You have mini storage over there, and you get down to the caution light, and you've got several commercial businesses. And so that's kind of the reason I think it's identified in the comp plan for commercial development. So your comp plan supports the idea of rezoning it to commercial. Bottom line, the neighbors aren't excited about that because of all the uses that could be allowed in the commercial district.
Does that apply to that entire parcel?
Yes, if you rezone, so he owns 2 tracts there. If you entertain the idea of rezoning those tracts to commercial, then any use we allow in the commercial district would be allowed on that property.
Are both of those tracks in that comprehensive plan?
Yes. And I don't know if this will help or hurt, but let me throw this out as a possible solution. If you're out, well, there's a motion to at least to schedule a public hearing and to at least entertain the idea of rezoning it to commercial. And there seems to be some uncertainty which direction you want to go in, whether it's commercial or special use permit. If I'm reading that correctly, then maybe instead of denying the special use permit and scheduling the public hearing, you table the special use permit and you schedule the public hearing for the rezoning. And we have the public hearing for the rezoning. We get, the neighbors have another opportunity to come in and let you know what they think about that proposal. Craig hopefully can make it to the next public hearing, and he can let you know what he thinks about it, and you still have both options on the table.
I just want to make sure that's actually what he wants to do.
Like he said, it's a double-edged sword for me. Either way I go. If I say yay, they say nay. If I say nay, they say yay. So it's, you know, I can't go either way and win. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And it's awful, you know, I bought a piece of property for that purpose. Talked to the neighbor before I bought it, told him what I was buying it for. Talked to him after I bought it, no problem. Do what you want to do down there, it won't bother us whatsoever. And they've done nothing but beat me in the ground since.
Just for my mind, if you had to choose between having your pig farm and your car lot, which would you choose?
I'd have my tow business. It's by far more profitable.
I've been sitting here biting my tongue, wanting to say something, and I probably shouldn't say it, but part of the problem is your neighbors don't trust you. When this thing came up the first time and we got denied, you brought the pigs in.
Exactly.
And that created a bad feeling with the neighbors. So now they're afraid that if they go the wrong way, whichever way, that you're gonna do something else they're gonna be more unhappy with.
Well, pardon me, but, you know, if you want to get down to nitpick, they're the ones that created the problem by telling me that, yeah, buy it, we don't have a problem with it. And then stabbing me in the back and beating me in the ground. I'm sorry, you know.
But I think that's the nuts and bolts of what's going on here now. And I don't think it's gonna happen. I was just say, if you and the neighbors could get together in a room and hammer it out, maybe the thing to do would be to postpone or table but we gotta vote on this first, is to table the first motion and schedule a public hearing on the commercial and get everybody back in the room to talk about it again. But I think that's the elephant in the room. I really do.
Well, the elephant in the room is with them, regardless of which way we go, special use or commercial.
Yeah.
They want to keep their thumb on me to where if I smile wrong, then they got a problem.
I think if you can give them some kind of assurance that you're gonna try to make it aesthetic, beautiful, or not beautiful, but nice looking, and gonna take care of the property, they would be happy.
Well, see, that's what I proposed the first time around, and it was just, they didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of water gone under the bridge since then, so,
I want to withdraw my motion, Mr. Chairman.
who made the second? You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Withdrawn.
Yeah, we need to vote on it. We need to I want to table the planning commission suggestions and set a public hearing for.
That'd be the March 20, it'll be 28th.
Yeah, 4th Thursday in March. We'll get the date and advertise
The
it.
rezone commercial.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? All righty.
Thank you.
Get everybody back in the room on the 20, whenever the date is.
28th.
Okay. I'm sorry we couldn't get it hammered out tonight.
I'm used to it.
Well, you know, I think we all.
Only 4 years, I mean, what the heck?
It's no fun.
I think we all realize it's your property, you should be able to do what you want to with it, but, we'll hopefully get it worked out where everybody can be
If they had
semi-happy.
told me they didn't want me there to start with, I wouldn't even bought the property.
Right.
They all had an opportunity to buy it, nobody wanted it but me.
We run into that quite often. Moving on to new business, Project Pathfinder's resolution.
You'll remember a meeting or two, we had a resolution in support of an opioid abatement authority funding application from the Southwest Virginia Legal Aid Society. That funding opportunity was actually for an individual locality project, and they were looking to do a region-wide that would go basically from the tip of Virginia east all the way to Montgomery. That's their entire service area. So after talking with Mr. Carrico, we did come up with the revised resolution, and that application date isn't until the end of or the 1st of April. But I do want to propose the board considering this, and this puts us in the same, basically in the same wavelength as what we're doing for Mount Rogers Community Services Board. We'll be the grant recipient, we'll be the fiscal agent for the project. I will say that Wise County, Lee County, Russell County, Tazewell County, Montgomery County is considering it, Wythe County is considering it, being part of the partnership. Also, if you remember when we did Mount Rogers, we did all the localities of Mount Rogers Planning District Commission. They were all active members or part of the agreement. So we expect there could be as many as 18 counties that sign on. But Mr. Carrico is asking Smyth County to be the fiscal agent since their main office is here in Marion. Glad to answer any questions if you have any. It does not tie us down to any funding, basically just to serve as that fiscal agent.
But we'll be spending time and effort writing checks and receiving cash and so forth, will we not?
Well, we will be sending, sign a check to reimburse the Regional Legal Aid Society and receive one payment every quarter from the opioids. It won't be a huge take, but yes, we are.
So Legal Aid Society would be actually writing the checks to pay vendors and so forth?
They're paying everything, and we reimburse them on a quarterly
one
basis.
check?
Yes, sir. So it's not going to be a huge commitment.
Well, it'd fall under our auditors, so they'd have to audit
Yes, sir.
those.
Yes, sir.
That's going to add cost to our audit. Minimal, but it will add.
Possibly, yeah.
When you're writing checks for 14, 15 counties for legal aid, that's going to.
Good. I want to say it's around $370,000 a year.
Just so we go with our eyes open, know what we're doing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Go with it.
I think it's good. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Now, is that just grant money that's being
It's
pushed here and there?
Yeah, the opioid fund, there's, I don't know, $2.5 billion, something crazy that's going to the state. We're getting our own portion of funding directly to us, but this is an application to the state from their pot.
So it's free money, basically.
Pretty much.
For them, yeah. It'll cost us a small amount of administrative costs.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it carried.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on now, report from the county attorney. He's been quiet all night. Wake him up now.
I spoke a little earlier. Just two quick things. One is the Saltville Rescue Squad building. We kind of messed around with that last summer. It never got transferred over to the county. So I have a deed that I thought was ready, but I had to fix a couple typos on. Is going to reprint it out for me. Roscoe hopefully will sign it before he leaves. He was the director of the agency, and I'd like to have a motion that Sean accepts, or we accept that property from the rescue squad.
As a board member.
As a board, you're signed as a board member, that's correct. As a rescue squad board member, what happened is the rescue squad dissolved without transferring real estate. And because he was a board member or director, he becomes what they call a trustee in dissolution, and has the ability to transfer the assets of the organization after it's been dissolved. So that's why he's signing as the director. The other two directors that were there had resigned prior to the dissolution. So Roscoe can sign as the director. So I just like a motion that the county is willing to accept that transfer of the property.
Somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise?
Abstain.
Have one abstention.
I get him money on
No, sir.
that? That's a good feeling.
The only other thing to report this evening is I did get a court date on Riverside Drive for a motion for default. That's a zoning violation out there that's been lingering a long time. We could not find the property owner to get her served. We did finally get her served, and I filed a motion for default, and I have a hearing set. I can't remember that date. It's in probably sometime end of March maybe. But I'll report back once that happens. Hopefully, things will go our way, and we can treat it like Quail Run and get there and get it cleaned up and move on.
This
So,
fix the property.
yes.
What is the status of Wheel Run? Is that cleaned up now? Last time I heard they were.
I don't know if Sean knows or not. I think Clegg was handling the disposal of the tires. They were waiting for it to dry up some. It's been really wet.
I'll give you an update on that.
Okay.
I took Dickie Davenport over earlier this week, and we've got a plan together. We're working with Wally to see if we can get a container over there. So as soon as the weather kind of gives us an idea, we can get over there. It did turn out to be a little bit more in depth than we thought it was going to be. Luckily, Dickie and I stumbled across a road that's going to get us access to most of the tires. So he does have a plan together. So as soon as he can get with Wally and we get a roll-off container over there, we're going to start getting it cleaned up, hopefully in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
That's all I
Get it in cold weather, cause it's full of snakes, probably.
Well, that's what Dickie was hoping for. He didn't want to deal with the snakes.
I wouldn't either.
Thank you very much. Scott, is that it for you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the attorney real quick.
Go ahead, Chris.
Scott, the property up, Charlie, what's the address up the road near the Atkins area with the house, the burned out house?
Perry Lane.
Is there any movement on that particular property as far as abatement and?
I'll have to get back to you on that. That doesn't sound familiar to me.
I can fill you on that. It changed owners.
Yeah.
And and if you drive by, there has been improvements. Unfortunately, I cannot get him to send a letter to Clegg to update it, to say, hey, but if you drive by, you can see they've cut a lot of the brush out of the yard. They boarded up they secured a lot of the house. Okay. And the intention is to go in and not tear it down, but to go in and fix it. We need for him to contact Clegg and let Clegg know what's going on. And that's the status right now.
Okay.
Am I right, sir?
Yeah. Sorry, Chris, I just didn't remember.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to blindside you.
That's okay. Anytime. I'll just tell you, I don't know. I'll get back to you.
Okay. And I just happen to know on that one.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else for our attorney?
No, sir.
Thank you. Report from county administrator and staff. The VDOT update.
Yeah, so the yellow tab is a printout of an email from Miss Heath, just updating you on some of the items discussed last time they were here. I won't read through it unless you have any questions, but I will throw out that item 8 is some more what she feels more accurate crash data comparisons. The numbers that we had apparently were calls for service along the interstate rather than crashes, but there's still, quite a large number, 116 crashes in 2023. I'd like to get a GIS point for each of those crashes so we can tell, and they have this where the hot spots, quote unquote, hot spots are. So we're still working with that, but otherwise, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them, or at least forward them on to VDOT. The next item, board retreat. We talked about the board retreat at the last meeting. Mr. Sturgill did remind me that we have a bad day there on the Friday we were looking at Thursday and Friday, April 18th and 19th. I'd like to ask if you're okay moving that to April 17th and 18th at Thursday, or Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday evening and Thursday morning, 4 hours each day. That way we can participate in the career fair, career day on the 19th.
We have career fair day, and you also have youth government day on that Friday.
Youth government day will be a busy day here.
Both days. There's both events going on at the same time.
That was 17 and 18 of April?
Yeah, evening of 17 and morning of 18 of April. We'll try and be easy on that Thursday because it's generally a board committee day. We'll try and not have committee days if we can help it, or committee meetings that day.
Can I ask you this?
Yes, sir.
Where are you planning? Are you going to do it here or at?
I'd like to go somewhere other than the office here, just so it may end up being the Francis Marion, but the hotels in Las Vegas, they were all booked.
So we can just go to Mike's house.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Only other thing that I'll throw out is just an update. Bradley, Mr. Powers is still here. Just an update on the reassessment, kind of reiterating what he was saying. We will have some increases. Speaking with Mr. Pearson, the houses are looking anywhere from 60 to 118% increase. Land is not as much. Commercial is right in the middle. Overall, we're looking at about a 36 to 40% increase on the assessment values themselves. We'll get the full numbers out. The letters, go ahead and warn board members. Your phones may start ringing here in the next week or so. Those letters are going out likely to go out next week. We expect them to go out next week, and the process will begin to work through the appeals and all that. We hope to have an appointments committee next week, so we can have the Board of Equalization appointed by the next board meeting. Glad to answer any questions if you have them.
I guess, said about, what we can do with that, or anything to help with offset?
Yeah, the folks that I've talked to, I've assured them that, if the assessments are going up, they can expect the rates to go down. I can't tell them how much the rates will go down, but, to at least, know that that's a possibility. Or likelihood of, it's not going, I don't expect to have 74-cent real estate tax rate come July 1.
Well, I just think it was important to say that because Stephanie's pen was.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you. Very good.
All right. Supervisor comment time. Chris, you get the privilege of going first tonight.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Up, you kind of interceded on my burning question here to try to quantify what we could expect the potential yelling level to be coming at us here, 60 to 118%. So,
Watch the Tazewell County board meeting that they had this week or last week.
that's kind of what I was referencing there, that, yeah, I don't want to get caught in that if we can help it. So I guess to Mr. Atkins' point, if we can get out in front of it, and Mr. Widener said that, get in front of it, kind of just say this is not a hard and fast rule. We're gonna work the numbers and try to keep minimal hurt, I guess is the way to say it. Other than that, that was my only burning question. Thank the staff for all their hard work, and that's all I've got to say at the moment.
All right, thank you, Chris. Supervisor Billings, next.
Well, I find myself every time just echoing how great the staff is. So I'll just echo that they're doing a great job. I don't know how we would do without one over there. As much as I bug her, I'm sure y'all do too. So she does a great job. I was hoping the people from over towards Troutdale wouldn't leave I don't know if this is news to anybody, but I know I've got a friend that kind of keeps me informed with Brightspeed, and they're in the process of switching everything over to fiber. And he said that, I guess the new fiber people will probably speed them up, because I know they got a permit for the town of Marion to go door to door to advertise that they were going to fiber. And I would think that that would be better than what they've got. And I actually sent him a text while he was here to see if he had any information about over that way, about how long it would be or whatever. But eventually, according to him, eventually all their lines will be fiber, so hopefully something happens quick, but that may be something that'll help me.
Thank you. I guess I'm next here, looking to draw. First off, I'd like to give my condolences to Jesse Choate's family. He's been a public servant through the Sugar Grove Fire Department for many a year. Anything involving Jesse was there anytime they needed anybody, and he will be sorely missed in the community. Also, please keep in mind in your prayers Mayor Helms here in Marion. I think he's still in the hospital, or he has been hospitalized since we got back from Richmond. Let's keep Mayor Helms in your prayers. If you didn't know it, several of us went to Richmond last month for the MSL VACO meeting with our legislators, and we had a good chance to meet with Jeb and with Senator Hackworth, and I thought it went real well. We got a chance to let them know exactly, well, with Jeb, he's right here, he's one of us, so to speak, so he knew the issues, but it gave us a chance to reiterate what we thought was really important and get to meet our legislators and work with them. So I think it was a very productive meeting. We got to work a little bit with our surrounding counties, some of their supervisors. And when you know one another, that helps when you got issues coming up. And it was a good, productive trip, I want to say that. Want to thank the staff. When we went to Richmond, something that was done for us is we had a agenda put together of what we would do and when, and that was very helpful. I appreciate that. And then our economic development person put together some issues that we needed to discuss, and I just, that was, you went in there knowing what you wanted to talk about. We weren't just, well, did I remember everything? We went with a plan, and our staff put that together. I really appreciated that.
Had a good group here.
So I just pass it on to the rest of them, if you don't mind, and I'll shut up and we'll go to the next person here. Jason, you're next.
Looks like Courtney's going to continue to be toward the end. Good thing about going after these guys is they continue. I'm kind of like Ricky, get to just echo what everybody says. You know, I have my notes about Jesse showed, you know, he's going to be a big loss for the Rye Valley District. Pretty much everything that was happening in the Sugar Grove area, he was involved in, you know, in one form or fashion. So he will be definitely missed. Echo what he was talking about, the VACO trip to Richmond. The plan was great. I said, grew up playing sports and stuff. I'm a big team building kind of guy, and I thought the time just to get to sit with the supervisors that was able to go, and Sean and Kendra at the times we were able to talk, that'll help some cohesiveness of how we work together. You get to know each other a little bit better than just sitting up here a couple times a month and for 2 hours or whatever and kind of going through the stuff. So I do appreciate that. Continue to echo on the staff. I do applaud VDOT for at least showing up and giving us answers. It may not be the answer we want all the time, but at least we know where they're listening and they're willing to show up, and hopefully they'll come back and we'll continue, to have those. I would say if anybody's watching online if you do have an issue with VDOT, reach out to your supervisors. That way we can at least address these and not kind of come up, blindsided with it. At least we can, take things to them. And then something I failed to do, and I just wanted to, thank Lori Deal. I meant to do this last month. You're sitting here, you know, it's not being starstruck or anything, but you don't know what to expect your first couple meetings, but I would like to thank Lori for what she did for the 4 years prior, and all the progress she helped the board make before, you know, I was elected, so I do appreciate that.
Mr. Sturgeon.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say I think we've done a lot of great things in the county and getting our students ready. We rolled out the Teachers for Tomorrow program this week. I appreciate Mr. Hutt being there, giving his words. And we basically, what that program is, that a student will pick up 1 year of college and high school if they plan on being a teacher. They'll take education courses, they'll be able to go into classrooms and have 1 year of college under their belt in education classes, go to community college 1 year with the Smyth promise, which would be free. And then they could do their last 2 years at Emory and Henry College for tuition of $15,000 for both combined for both years, which, as you know, is today's college cost is astronomical. So we're trying to grow our own in teacher education. So with partners of us, the Board of Supervisors, the county, Virginia Highlands Community College, Whitfield Community College, and of course Emory and Henry. So a lot of partners in that, and let me just tell you, the State Superintendent of Virginia is ecstatic and loves it, and is wanting to roll that program out as a model program for the state. That was word we received late yesterday afternoon, so Dr. Coons. And with that being said, also I'd like to take just a minute and reflect on Mr. Choate. He was on the school board for 33 years, and he was chairman of the school board 18 of those 33 years. And I don't know what we could ever say that was a greater public servant in Smyth County. And the man dedicated that many years of his life, and not only just the school system, but the community and the many things that he served. So he was a real cornerstone for being a great citizen and representative of his community up there. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and for Carol, his wife. And also tomorrow, Manufacturing Excellence Program starts with a tour of SIG. We've got somewhere between 13 and 15 students who will be touring, which used to be Sholey's. So that's their first visit, and it will continue until I think it's March 22nd. It'll be every Friday, and then the last week it's on a Wednesday because that's Easter break. So hopefully we'll have a lot of these soon-to-be graduates employed is our goal by the end of this program, that they'll have sign on, and after they graduate, they'll be going straight into the workforce. So I think this will be a great program, another great program for our young people. Thank you.
I'll go last. I always do.
No,
Roscoe. Oh, is he next?
Yeah, no, you're next.
Oh, I'm next. Okay. Well, you want to let me go? Do you want to go first, Roscoe?
Go ahead. You complained about being last. Part of that crying. Go ahead.
So, I need to start writing things down because I've got so much going through my mind. But, you know, as far as that case, I along with all of us, I think we'll try to see what we can come up with too to help you in searching for something for that. Also, just want to reiterate for the staff, appreciate everything you do. I was very appreciative of the itinerary that was made for our trip until about a mile in, and then my feet was so don't ever wear a new pair of dress shoes to Richmond when you have to walk your ways. I had to grab my first Uber on the way back. So, anyways, Mr. Choate, with everybody speaking about him, you know, that's he holds a special place in this community, and also in the school community. And being with my job, I've got to see the effects of that some in the past couple of weeks, and you know, just prayers for the family and friends and everybody. You know, it's definitely going to leave a hole in many hearts and minds and everything for some time. And you everybody, along with us, can just carry on with what the direction I think that he was seeing things going. So, also the Teachers for Tomorrow program, that's a big deal. I mean, I would have never thought just a couple of years ago we could be where we're at today, and you know, that's just because of great ideas coming together and people working together to make it happen. And I'm always going to say it, I appreciate the board that I serve with, because you know, I truly believe it's putting the citizens first. I don't think there's any personal agendas up here. I think that, you know, we look into things and we try to work our way through it. We do have differences, but at the end of the day, we come together and we just make the best decision that we feel is for our area, our locality, and the Teachers for Tomorrow program that I was also in attendance at Oak Point, and you know, I think the thing that blows my mind more than anything is you've got students who's going to be able to go to a private university and get their degree for no more than $15,000. I mean, that is amazing, and it's a, you know, prestigious college, especially in this area. You know, there is such a need for teachers in today's time, and I see the struggles every day with that myself. And of course, nobody knows that better than Mike up here, but I'm really hoping our young people here in the county decide to take advantage of this. It's a promising career, and you know, I think that too, speaking, I don't want to speak for the school board, but I want to speak as a citizen myself, and also in my position that, you know, there's more work to be done on the teachers' end as far as you know, what can be provided for them. They deserve everything that we can give them, and I hope that's something that moving forward in the years to come, that we can work with the Smyth County School Board and ensure that we're, you know, compensating and providing good benefits to our educators in this county. So I think I've said enough, and I will. Yeah, Roscoe agrees. I will pass it over. Well, I did want to say one thing. I really was hoping that you was wearing the brand today, and I was tickled to death to see
I'll
that.
stand out in the crowd.
And his new bibbed overalls.
Well, my condolences to the Yoder family. Long time. Takes a long time to heal. I appreciate the staff here, takes care of me like a baby. They all do. Appreciate y'all coming tonight, especially seeing our good friends again, getting out and everything. And God bless all of you. And with the reassessments coming up and everything, got any questions or comments or anything, just text on C. Wagner at smithcounty.com.
I see that hand going again.
Yeah. Thank you. God bless you.
In case you're new to one of our meetings, when we get to supervisor time, it used to be under some of the old boards, you'd start at one end and go down the road, and people were always complaining. So I used to just have little bitty pieces of paper in a cup up here, and they got me more official now. I have a note card with everybody's name on it, and I sit up here and shuffle them most of the meeting, and then it comes to the end of the meeting, I just start drawing note cards. So that's how we decide who's going to go. And Courtney down here has been the last for I don't know how many times, but his card looks just like everybody else's. But this is
It must be related or something.
I've been here for 2 years, and it's been 2 years.
But that's what's going on there. That's my fairest way of knowing who to call on first, second, and third. But, as Roscoe said, thank you all for being here tonight. Hopefully we accomplished some good business, made good decisions for the county, and like he said, if you have questions, anything at all, don't hesitate to call C. Widener Thank you again. As far as I know, this meeting is adjourned. I guess I should have stopped, but I just didn't understand.